I used to believe that marriage was built on trust, respect, and loyalty. For years, I thought my wife, Emily, and I had all three. We had been married for 7 years, built a comfortable life together, and even though we didn't have children yet, we often talked about the future like it was something beautiful waiting just around the corner. But life has a cruel way of showing you truths you never wanted to see. And the night she told me she'd be working late again was the night I gave her a brutal gift she would never forget. It started subtly: missed calls, late night texts she wouldn't let me see, and sudden work emergencies that didn't quite make sense. Emily was a marketing manager, and while I knew her job could be demanding, I also knew that she used to come home and collapse into my arms after long days. But lately, she seemed distant, cold, and strangely energized after these supposed late shifts. My gut told me something was wrong, but I kept brushing it off because I loved her. I didn't want to believe she could hurt me. One Friday evening, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Don't wait up, honey. I'll probably be working late again." My chest tightened as she grabbed her laptop bag and walked out the door, not even looking back. That was the moment I decided enough was enough. I wasn't going to sit around in the dark, wondering anymore. I called my friend Mark, who worked as a private investigator. He was ex-military, sharp as a blade, and he'd helped people in situations like this before. When I explained what had been happening, he didn't hesitate. "You need to know the truth," he said. "And once you see it, you'll never look at her the same way again." That night, Mark tailed Emily after she left the office. My phone buzzed around 10 p.m. with photos. There she was, my wife, the woman who had vowed to love me forever, sitting in a dimly lit restaurant, laughing with a man I had never seen before. The photos stung, but what broke me completely was the one of her leaning across the table to kiss him. At that moment, my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I barely slept that night. My mind was racing with anger, grief, betrayal, and a strange clarity. I knew I had to confront her, but I also knew I had to do it on my terms. If she wanted to play games, then I would give her a gift she'd never forget. The next morning, I carefully gathered everything: copies of the photos, screenshots of her messages that Mark had intercepted, and even a printout of the hotel booking she'd made with her lover. I placed them neatly into a beautiful gift box, wrapped it with gold paper, and tied it with a ribbon. I wanted it to look like something given out of love, because what was inside was the opposite. That evening, when Emily came home, she acted exhausted, pretending to have had another long day at work. I could see the faint trace of perfume on her skin, a fragrance she didn't own. My hands trembled slightly as I handed her the box. "What's this?" she asked with a tired smile. "A gift," I said quietly, my voice calm but heavy. She looked surprised, even touched. She opened it slowly, her eyes lighting up for a second, until she saw what was inside. Her face drained of color. The photos spilled out into her lap. The hotel booking slid across the floor. Her lips trembled, and her hand froze in midair. "Wah! What is this?" she stammered, her voice cracking. "You tell me," I said coldly. "Because according to you, you've been working late. Looks like you've been working on something else." Tears welled in her eyes as she tried to gather the papers. "Please, it's not what it looks like. Don't insult me," I cut her off. "You think I'm blind. You think I didn't notice the lies, the excuses, the way you pulled away from me. This," I pointed at the evidence scattered across the couch, "is who you really are." She broke down, sobbing, begging me to listen, but I was done listening. I had given her my trust, my love, my loyalty, and in return, she gave me betrayal. That night, I told her to pack her things and leave. She begged, screamed, even tried to throw herself at my feet, but my heart was hardened. Over the next few weeks, it was hell. The house felt empty. Nights were long and quiet, and sometimes I wondered if I had made a mistake. But then I'd remember the look on her face when she opened that box, and I'd remind myself that I hadn't destroyed this marriage, she had. I focused on rebuilding myself. I threw myself into the gym, reconnected with friends I had neglected, and even started therapy to process the pain. Slowly, I felt the weight lifting. Months later, I ran into Mark again. He asked me how I was doing, and for the first time, I genuinely smiled. "Better," I said. "Stronger. I thought losing her would destroy me, but it actually set me free." That's the brutal truth about betrayal. It cuts you deep, but it also teaches you the value of self-respect. My wife thought she could deceive me forever, but instead, I gave her a brutal gift she will never forget, the mirror of her own betrayal, wrapped up and handed back to her. And here's what I learned. Never let anyone convince you to settle for dishonesty. Trust is fragile, and when it's broken, it can never be the same. But the end of one story is the beginning of another. And sometimes, the most painful endings lead to the most powerful new beginnings.